everybody. I'm Debbie, and this is Deanna. And we're live to do an AMA and a Q&A. I'm here to help you live with anything that I can. And this is part of the Your Life After Tech multiverse. What do you think about that, Deanna? You want to go down and go back to sleep? I hope you want this. There you go. So I am here to take your questions. I forgot to put on the screen how to ask a question. So let's get that going. If you would like to ask a question, you can send it to lat.link/Q. And that will be anonymous because I bet a lot of you would like to talk about your jobs or your frustrations with applications or the economy or anything you feel like talking about, because this live show is all about helping you in whatever way that I can. So I am here to talk about whatever you want to talk about, take your questions. We are live also on YouTube and Twitch. I recommend subscribing there. We are Your Life After Tech, even though the matching book is just Life After Tech. So if you are watching live, give me an emoji or say hello, or I recognize you might not want to because then we'll see your name on the screen. Your name will come up on the screen if you write a comment on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitch. If you're not comfortable with that, send something to the anonymous channel, lat.link/Q. Otherwise, feel free to say hi. There's nothing. I'm trying to break the stigma of talking about layoffs and being out of work and struggling with all these things. So please start saying hello and let's talk about it. I'm just going to check for a moment that we are live on all of our usual channels. And let's see. Yep. Live on YouTube. Great. And I will also check. We got people watching on YouTube. Hello. And I'll also check for LinkedIn as well. So again, you are welcome to put a question here. You can also put them somewhere in our Discord channel if you'd like, in the live events channel. And but again, this is your time. If there's anything you want to talk about, I am here for you. It is the first show that I'm doing with the Life After Tech theme. Usually I do this every Tuesday for, yes, hello. We have some people on LinkedIn watching. Hello. That is working. Cool. Thank you for the applause on LinkedIn. Yeah, so we're here to help. So if anybody wants to talk, let's please do that. What's on your mind? I recognize as the first time I'm doing this show, we might not have anybody asking questions. I remember the first time I did this show for the other side of my world, the Delta CX world, which is a lot of CX and UX and tech stuff. Oh, good. Someone sent in a question. Yay. Okay, so it works. lat.link/Q for question. And we've got a question. Let me copy it and put it up on the screen. And as I said, these are totally anonymous. I don't know who this is, and so your secret is with you. Let's get it up on the screen. Okay, there it is. It says, I feel like I'm in my life after tech before I've even started. I was just laid off my first job after it was acquired, and now I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm motivated and determined, but it seems like this industry is in more disarray than any other industries. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. Sorry, just fixing my chair. That is definitely a common feeling. There's a common feeling. It's why I put it on the back of the book of what happened to tech jobs and what will I do next? Definitely a common feeling. So is this industry in more disarray than others? Maybe. And here's why I would say possibly yes, because because right now the economy is considered okay. They say we're not really in a recession, we're not in a depression. So if it's not some sort of really disastrous economy, then what is going wrong? And where is it going wrong? Are people getting laid off from other jobs? Now, a neighbor of mine tried to tell me a few weeks ago that she knew some people who were laid off here locally, and they weren't necessarily in tech. So I think there is a bit of it going around, and it's not just tech. But I do have a suspicion that tech is having more trouble than other industries. Hello, Hassan. Thanks for joining on LinkedIn. I think tech is in a little bit more trouble than other industries. And obviously tech is a very broad brush, because you could be an engineer, a UX person, a marketer, a product person, a business analyst, a customer support person, a leader or executive. I mean, tech is such a broad thing. But I think it is in more trouble, especially possibly in America. Oh, hello, Monica. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Italy time, because I'm based in Italy. And I'm going to be taking your questions. And if you send a question when I'm not broadcasting, I will save it for when I am. So keep those questions coming to lat.link/Q for question. And I did want to put the date up as well. So let me go back and fix my overlay here. Let's see. This should say live on 2 October 2024 and lat.link/Q. All right, I'll get there eventually. It's my first Q&A show and talking about feelings show for the Life After Tech stuff. Don't forget, the Life After Tech book is out. You can find how to find it at lat.link/book. That will give you all of the links to all of the ways that you can buy it, including audiobooks and Amazon and not Amazon and EPUBs and all kinds of things. So I do think that tech might be in more disarrays. Greetings from France. Hello, bonjour, good evening. Yes, thank you, LinkedIn user. Of course I'm doing this. And again, you can subscribe on YouTube, Your Life After Tech, or if you like Twitch, I kind of like Twitch, Your Life After Tech on Twitch. So, the more we can get away from LinkedIn, the better. Especially since if you show up on YouTube or Twitch, your name might be anonymous and you might feel more comfortable being part of the conversation. Though again, I want to get rid of the stigma that tells people they don't want to be part of the conversation. Yes, be part of the conversation. I think tech is in more trouble, possibly because of the Section 178 tax law changes. And you might be thinking, what? That's an American thing. And I wrote an article about it some months ago, I think at the beginning of 2024. It's on my Medium. I'll try to find the link to it, but it's probably easier for everybody to Google. Let's see. It's called, easy to Google because Medium links are so long, but it's called A U.S. Business Tax Law Change That Partially Caused Layoffs. So I think if you just Google like Debbie Levitt, that's me, U.S. Business Tax Law Change, Medium, Section 174. But I'll give you the short version here. And that is that there was a U.S. business tax law change that changed how companies can expense or write off expenses, business expenses that relate to anything that has to do with innovation, research, development, experimentation. And if you think about it, a lot of tech jobs fall into that. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of tech jobs fall into something that we might call research. That would even be hypothetically market research. Though again, I'm not a tax law expert, but I'm thinking that could be included. We know that medical research tech companies were affected, so that could even be medical research. We know there's a lot of experimentation in companies, especially all the companies saying we want to be innovative. Okay, well, a lot of our path to innovation includes experiments. Anything that is research and experimental is probably going to include design and UX, and probably include engineering and development and QA and DevOps. And so I think many, but not all, tech jobs end up falling into this. Now, again, it's an American tax law change, so it may or may not affect a company in France or India or somewhere else. But I think there's also kind of a ripple effect where other companies or countries see, ooh, look at all these American companies. They're cutting workers, and that looks good. They're saving money, and their stock price went up, and their investors were happy that they lowered expenses. So I think there could be a ripple effect there. But ultimately, Section 174 tax change said, and I'll just give you the short version, you can't write off business expenses the way you used to. Hey, thank you. Thank you to the LinkedIn person who put that up. I'm not even in my own live stream right now. Hold on, let me go there. And, oh, Silke, so good to see you. Silke, I'm giving you a Germanic pronunciation. I apologize, I don't remember. Good to see you here. Yes, that's definitely my article. But again, if you're not on LinkedIn, you can also find that by Googling. So, yes, good to see some of my LinkedIn connections joining live. So, yeah, we're here to talk about layoffs and tech and what's next for so many of us that are having trouble finding a job. Tango Studio, I know who you are. One thing I don't understand is why there's so many tech and product and platform needing to be built, then there's so many layoffs. Yeah, let's talk about that next. Let's get that up on the screen. Oops, hold on. I forgot to open up a notepad note. Yes, I use Notepad, and that way I can copy and paste these into the YouTube description so that we know later what we talked about. You can find it more easily. Okay, so this is, I'll worry about that later. Okay, so we'll talk about Tango's question next. But yeah, so is tech in more disarray than other industries? I can't prove it. I don't have any studies on this. I just have some of the things I've noticed, the things I see in my LinkedIn, the things I'm hearing from other people in the world. I think a lot of companies are in different flavors of trouble, but I do think tech is in a special place right now, especially either American tech companies or companies with American parent companies or companies just copycatting American companies because of Section 174. So get to know Section 174 tax changes. Again, you can find it in my article. Ooh, it's tough, and it went into effect in 2022. So if you feel like your tech job in the tech multiverse hasn't been quite right since 2022, 2023, you're right. Alrighty, let's put up Tango's question or comment, and let's talk about that. And again, this is audience participation. This is not just Deb yapping. I want to hear what all of you think. I want to hear what you know. I want to hear what you agree with or disagree with, or what your perspectives on things are. Do you think tech is abnormally messy right now against other industries? We've also got Tango's question or comment here, and you're welcome to talk about it as well. Your comments will pop up down here. And we're offset about 40 seconds. So I promise if you type something, I'll see it. And if I say something, you'll eventually see it. So again, Tango says, one thing I don't understand is that why are there so many tech and product and platform need to be built and there's so many layoffs? I think you're right. I think there's so many things that companies want to do. They have it in their strategies. They have it in their roadmaps. They have it in their plans. Maybe they've even promised it to the public or investors or shareholders, and then they go and cut people. Now, typically during a layoff, a company is saying, look, we really don't need you anymore. We changed what we're doing, or we've made some strategic adjustments. We just don't need you anymore. And therefore, you would think that those projects are not continuing. Whatever project you were working on, it's not really continuing, and that's why we don't need you. But if they cut you, but the project is continuing, and you're not replaced in any way, then that just means we're dumping more work on the people who remain. And that's where a lot of this stuff starts to ripple out and get more complicated, because it becomes really tough for the people who stay, can definitely be bad for their work environment, for their mental health, because now they have to do the work of at least two people. They were probably doing the work of at least two people before, and now they're going to be doing even more work. So yes, there is so much tech, and there's so many new interesting startups. I heard that some of them were greatly affected and even went out of business because of the Section 174 tax code change. And so, yes, there is so much product. And if you think about it, companies want to get so much done. They want to be the feature factory. They want to get their stuff out there. They want to innovate. And I'm going to put innovate in air quotes because it doesn't happen so much. Do we have our, we want to innovate. Hooray, look at us. We're so innovative and amazing. We made something so new that surely you've never heard of before. Yes, existing workers will be quite stressed, as Tango points out. So, yes, why are there layoffs? And as far as I can tell, and I'm no expert on this, I do not have a degree in economics. If you do and you're watching right now, tell us something. But I think a lot of this is just greed. It's, wow, we can probably do without 5% of our workers, 10% of our workers. Let's see what happens. But what's not usually talked about is how badly that tends to go for the company, and how those jobs are sometimes reopened, but at much lower pay. Some people have been talking about the much lower pay because they've noticed it. They say, wait a minute, I used to make $160,000 American dollars doing that job. Now they're opening a job for $90,000? Whoa, what just happened here? But again, because companies' top priorities appear to be what's the cheapest we can do, whatever, and let's lay people off and reopen their jobs at lower pay if we have to. I've had people from other countries tell me, whoa, we're seeing a lot more recruiters looking for people in my country, whatever country that is, because we're a country with qualified people, but we charge a lot less for our time and our salaries. And so I think that some of these jobs are reopening because the companies did need these people, but they're not reopening necessarily to you and me, and they're not paying what they used to. Many of the jobs that I'm seeing, and I'm looking for work, so I'm actively applying, many of the jobs I'm seeing pay less than what I was making 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And that seems weird. That doesn't seem like I'm moving forward, but it might be what I'm stuck taking if I can get a job. There's just so many, hundreds of thousands of people out there who've been laid off and just are applying to everything. Tango says, what about more junior staff replacing senior staff? You're totally right. Again, if this is a numbers game and it's really about spreadsheets and budgets and how do we spend less and try to get things done, then you are going to see companies looking for more junior people. Why should we hire the person with 7 years of experience when we can get the person with 2, 3? Maybe they're good enough. And maybe they are good enough. I don't know. But to me, there's always a place for very experienced people, but they're gonna cost money. And so maybe they're trying to replace people with less experienced staff. Maybe they want to replace people with people in other countries. Maybe they hope AI can do some of these tasks because AI costs less than I do. So I think that there are certainly a lot of ideas and possibilities around what people might want to do to try to lower their costs. Because again, for business, it's just a numbers game. But right now, supposedly, the economy is doing okay. We're not seeing layoffs because companies are failing. Companies in general are announcing success. They're announcing profits. In some cases, they're announcing record profits, and then they're cutting people. And we've even seen some weird articles. Who saw the headline about how the Spotify CEO was surprised that when he cut a bunch of people, productivity went down? Yes. And in other news, water is wet. So yes, if you cut people, you will get less work done, especially if you're still trying to keep those projects going. If they haven't cut the projects that went with the cut people, surprise, you're going to get less stuff done. Imagine that. So yeah, what are some other topics people would like to talk about? What are some things on your mind? What are some questions you have? Maybe a personal experience that you're going through that you want to talk about? All of this is welcome. You can post in the chat, though of course it'll come up with your name, or you can send it to lat.link/Q. Redundancy brings fears. Absolutely. I was just talking to someone today and we were having the conversation of like, which is worse, to be the person who's laid off and finally have that happen and to know you don't work there and all of the difficult emotional and financial and other things that go with that, or to be the person who made it through this round of layoffs and now has to worry about the next round of layoffs where you didn't get cut this time, but will you get cut next time? And if you don't do your job and someone else's job, will you be the person who's cut next because they'll claim you're just not performing very well? So absolutely, not only does this bring fear, but in my opinion, and you can disagree because it's an opinion, I think it's meant to create fear. It's meant to create fear. It's meant to create fear that anyone can be cut at any time for any good or bad reason. And that means the people who are left are probably now scrambling even more, hustling even more, trying to do even more work, tap dancing more, saying yes to more, not making waves. What? We're going to do something unethical that would be really bad for customers? I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to be the person who's laid off next. And so I think there's a lot of things that can ripple out from the fears around layoffs. And again, I don't think we talk about this enough. I don't think we talk about how it can take a person with a strong personality who wants to be a change agent, who wants to be a problem finder and solver, and it can turn that person into a frightened, quiet order taker. And that has a lot of personal ramifications. That can be very emotionally taxing because now that person feels untrue to themselves, and then they have to deal with that. So it's so complicated, for sure. Thank you, Silke, posting to LinkedIn and mentioning me. Thank you. Let's press like and write a comment to help you out in the algorithm. Real time, everybody. Except I'm on my phone on one hand and on the computer on the other hand. So thank you, Silke. Yes, so tough. And again, that's part of what brought me to write the Life After Tech book, which again doesn't require that you leave tech or it doesn't require that you hate tech. I'm still trying to work in tech, but I've been out of work for some months. I'm hoping to find something. I hope you will find something. And I hope all of us will also start adding some non-tech work to what we're doing. Just because it's smart, just because we want to be critical thinkers, we want to be planners, we don't want to be caught surprised that we got laid off or whatever. Are most of our audience in a job or looking for a job? I don't know. Let me put that up on the screen because it's a great question. I don't know yet. My book's been out a week. This is the first Ask Me Anything I'm doing. So this is still a new universe for me to be shifting into. Even though I've done some career coaching, I do offer coaching. You can find it at the Life After Tech website or the Delta CX website. But I'm finding that it's probably some of both, because what the people I've been talking to, there are the people who are not in a job, who are looking for a job. Some of them are looking for the tech job. Some of them feel done with tech or burned out, and they're curious what else there is out there that's not tech. And then there are the people who are in the job who are afraid of the next layoff or weren't happy there to begin with, but are afraid to leave because there doesn't seem to be a job for them to go to. I'm old enough to remember if you didn't like your job, you could walk away from it knowing that you'd probably find something within a month or two, right, Zilka? And so that was the way it used to look, yes. But now it's quite different. Now, unfortunately, if you're not happy with your job, if you don't like your job, if you're being abused or gaslit or something really terrible, you can walk away from it, but who knows when you'll get that next job. And I think even those fears keep people in some bad situations as well. So Tango, I wouldn't be surprised if people are in a job or looking for a job. Side hustles as well, absolutely. Again, I wrote my book thinking about that as well. I think that some people are going to be looking for more side hustles. I think some people are going to wonder if they can combine side hustles and say, you know, I can do a little bit of this, and I can do a little bit of this, and I can do this little tech freelancing, and you know what, put it together, and I've got money to live on. So I think that the real point, especially of my book, is that all of your options are open. I think a lot of people feel very stuck right now, and this channel and this Every Wednesday show and this book are here to tell you have a lot of options. I'm still trying to find my next tech job, but there's a whole bunch of things that I'm working on building up that are either going to be tech or not tech. And you could call it a side hustle. You could call it entrepreneurship. You could call it growing my own business. You could call it freelancing. Really, to me, these words don't matter. It's really about, can you find something that makes you money primarily? That's what this is all about. And in fact, if you haven't read my book yet, and why haven't you read my book yet? We have the Grounded Goals Framework, which reminds us that at the very least, anything we do for work must be something we're getting paid for. That's the main thing it has to be. It doesn't have to be your passion or your mission or your life's calling. Emojis up. Who's ever had a job that was not their passion, but you did it anyway and you got paid for it, and that was okay? So it's something you'd be okay doing. It's something you're good at now or can become good at, and it's what somebody somewhere in your world needs, especially if their budget is tight. Not if your money is tight, if the budget is tight. And so to me, that's what we should be focused on, because we can always take the money from that job and fund our passion. Fund the things that are our true calling. Have time and money and headspace for the things that really make us feel alive. It's really okay if your job is your job. It may be something you love and that sings from your heart, and it might not be. And you know what? It's okay either way. Or places that want you to work for free. Yeah, Monica, you're right. There's a lot of companies out there. I've seen a lot of jobs that say volunteer. And it's like, really, you want a volunteer head of UX or a volunteer chief product officer? Guess what? I get paid to do that. So I think that's unfair. And I think we're at the point now where let's say you took that volunteer job or you did that work for free, that doesn't guarantee you that you get any other job. It doesn't guarantee you that someone's going to look at that and go, oh, wow, that work you did there was so amazing, we have to hire you. You might just be spending your time on something unpaid that isn't necessarily going to lead to anything. And so I think it's okay to be very protective of your time. Nicole, I don't know why you're laughing out loud. You're going to have to give me more context because you're about 40 seconds delayed. And so I don't know what you're laughing at. So everybody, please give me a little context when you comment because we're a little bit delayed and I don't know what you're commenting on. Oh, there we go. Just pulling up LinkedIn on my phone. So hopefully I said something funny. And also the working for free comes sometimes in a job interview. Some of us have seen that depending upon what thank you. I got that from something years ago. A short version of that story was someone had sent me a video in 2016 of someone who was someone who was from the deaf community who was saying that it was wrong for a certain American president who was inaugurated in 2017, who voted Section 174 into law. It was wrong for that person to not have a sign language interpreter at the inauguration. And so this person from the deaf community said in their sign language video, let me summarize what that person said at their inauguration. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Those exercises. What exercises? Everybody, you have to give me context. I'm seeing you. Oh, right, those exercises. Yeah. Don't forget to give me context. Yes, many of us are in tech jobs where they want us to do a sample piece of work. Developers might be asked to code. Product managers might be asked to come up with a strategy or roadmap. Marketers might be asked to come up with a campaign. UX designers might be asked to design something. These things are completely unfair if they're unpaid, and very often they're unethical because there's something that the company runs with. I saw a comment today on LinkedIn where someone said that they knew someone who had spent 2 weeks doing multiple free pieces of work in the name of interviewing somewhere, and then they told the person they didn't want them. And I said, well, of course they don't want them. Now they don't even need them. That person did weeks of free work. They got the work they needed. So I think it's very common for us to say, you know, I really want this job. I really need this job. They're asking me to do this. It'll just take me a few hours or a day. I'll just do it. But we have to remember how infrequently we get that job and how often that company then goes and uses that work. And unless you have a signed contract with them that says they cannot use that work, you gave it to them. I don't think you have a legal leg to stand on to say, hey, you weren't supposed to use that work. That was just a test you gave me. No, you gave it to them and you didn't ask for money for it, and now it's theirs. So, you know, the more you know. And so it's hard, but typically if people ask me for that, I say, I'm sorry, I get paid to do that work. Would you like to throw even a few $100s at me to do that? Because that would show me you value me as a candidate. Another thing I don't do, at least not early in a job process, is I do not do personality tests. So not worth my time when I don't even know if I'm on the short list or somebody you're considering. Really not worth my time. Not going to do it. Nope. So by the way, I always leave an hour for this show just to make sure that I am getting everybody's questions and thoughts and comments and feelings and concerns. We'll do this every Wednesday unless I'm traveling. So you can always check my events calendar, which do I have it linked from the resources page? Oh no, I might have forgotten to, let me make a note. Link events calendar on resources page. So that'll be there tomorrow. And you're wondering, where is this resources page, Deb? It's at lifeaftertech.info. That's actually the QR code above my head. Or again, you can go to lat.link without the /q, and you will be dumped on lifeaftertech.info. And then there's a page that says resources, and I'll add the events calendar there. Personality test, could I please elaborate? Sure. There are some companies that give these tests. Some of them are about personality. Some of them claim to determine how intelligent you are or how logical you are. Some of them try to give you a personality label, like maybe a Myers-Briggs label, like, oh, you're thinking, you're feeling, you're perceptive. I don't subscribe to any of these things, and I don't believe in putting people in buckets. We are all too unique and individual and different for me to say, oh yes, everybody falls into this bucket. I once had, oh hi Daniel, if you ask for a standard plan and budget and then go silent, yeah, exactly, thank you for the free work, now we have a plan. I need a trombone here. Wah, 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 wah. It's tough because you think, I'm just going to give them a plan. That's not enough for them to act on. Don't worry, they'll act on it because they probably have some other candidate who they've said, make us the plan. You have no idea what these people are doing, and it's often ugly. So sometimes these personality tests ask questions about like what kind of person you are, or sometimes they'll have questions like, how much do you agree with this statement? I often find it hard to control my anger. Who's gonna be like, oh yeah, always. In many cases, you're just tap dancing along to give the answers you think they want to hear. So these personality tests are sometimes not even honest. But there are these tests. Sometimes they're personality or personal typologies. Sometimes they're trying to see how good you are with critical thinking or logic. I remember I got some of these tests from an HR person, and I actually gave the test to my husband and myself and some of the people working for me to see how we would score and to see what the test would say we were strong at or weak at. And let me just say, it had us all wrong. It said I was weak at certain things that I don't think I'm weak at, and the other people at my company didn't think I was weak at. It said my husband was weak at things that I know he's strong at, but they tried to determine how logical he was by giving him a math puzzle. Well, maybe he's a logical guy or good with logical thinking without being great at math puzzles. Not everything that has to do with logic has to do with a math puzzle. So, that Monica, I don't know if you've seen these types of things. Maybe it's more of an American thing. Is the result consistent? Well, when I tried it was consistently bad. So in that case, I think I gave it to 3 or 4 of us, and I thought it had all of us wrong. Now, it wasn't 100% wrong, but to me it was wrong enough that I've never run that again, even as an experiment. And when people try to give me those tests, I try to either opt out or I say, look, these tests are very difficult for me because it's like yes to everything. I can be any of these things based on what the situation needs. Like if you ask me if I would do this versus doing this, I wonder if I have an example of these. Let me just check my screenshots folder really quickly and see if I happen to have saved one, because I know I saw a couple of these a few years ago where I was like, what? Let's see if I can find these. Nope, that's personas. Let's try the word test in my screenshots folder. No. I know I have these somewhere, but I'm not seeing it right now. Personality test, maybe HR. I'm sorry I don't have these handy. I didn't know what we were going to talk about. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I know I took screenshots of these at some point, but I'm not seeing it right now. Okay. Oh, yes. Manish, I know the ring light reflects in my glasses. I'm sorry about that. Some people are super bothered by it and tell me like, I can't look at you, and some people don't care. So it's kind of all over the place. Your eyes are getting lost and it's distracting. Yes, but it's better than me seeing a blurry screen. But I'm going to go for the blurry screen because the ring light is good. It gives me some nice lighting. So yeah, sorry about that. Some people are able to ignore the weird circle reflection in my glasses, and some people say they just cannot ignore it. So sorry about that. Okay, Monica was saying, along personality lines, what's your take on sharing one's neurodivergence? I tend to overshare and just put it out there that I have ADHD. So let's get that question up on the screen since it's a super question. All right. So, okay. So what do I think about that? My thought on that is you should share whatever you're comfortable sharing. So if you like to talk about ADHD, then talk about it. If you think you're going to need some, as America calls it, accommodations because you have a disability diagnosis or condition, then you might want to reveal it. It's really up to you. If you feel like it doesn't affect your work and it's not something you want to talk about because it's nobody's business, then you don't have to talk about it. So I think it's really a very personal thing. Some people are very proud of their neurodivergence. They feel like it's a superpower. They want to talk about it. Some people feel more guarded about it. So I can't tell you there's one right way to go with this. I'm definitely a person who believes in honesty, but I also believe in taking care of yourself first. So if taking care of yourself means not talking about any disability diagnosis or condition, you don't have to. I think the rule in America, at least, and I know you're not in America, but I think the rule in America is if you are going to ask for an accommodation, like I can't come into work on certain days, or I can't work under certain conditions, or I need to be at a desk facing a window, or I need to wear headphones at work. When you're asking your job to accommodate, which I don't love that word, but that's usually what's used, accommodate something that you need because of a disability diagnosis or condition, then you're usually telling at least your manager and HR. But I believe that you have the right to say, hey, it's okay, I'm open about it, we can tell everybody, or I'm not open about this, please don't tell others. So again, I think it's a very personal decision, and so it's up to you. Tango says, you are more fully developed in different dimensions, but everyone should have a predominant persona and then others depending upon the situation. Yeah, I don't seem to have that. I don't seem to have a predominant one. I once had a therapist I was going to test me on Myers-Briggs, and she said, you are all 16 because you will pick the one that the situation needs, and you don't really have a dominant one. So I'm sure many people feel like they have a dominant one. I think that's common. I think I'm uncommon. I think many people feel like they have a dominant one, but I don't. And the question is, if you do have a dominant typology, should I treat you differently? Do you want to be treated differently? Shouldn't I just get to know you as a person? So, I don't love putting people into these buckets. Monica says, I've done these tests, but usually as a part of onboarding or team building. I saw that too. I worked at one company that wanted people to take these tests where it was like, what kind of person are you? Are you a blue? Are you a red? Are you a yellow? I think this system went by colors, and I was like, I can already tell you I'm whatever I need to be based on the situation. Wah, wah. HR considers them to be pretty accurate. I don't know about that anymore. I think now that we're talking more about neurodivergence and people with different conditions, I think a lot of those tests aren't as accurate as they used to be. I think we thought those tests were accurate when we could put people into nice buckets, but now that we understand that there's a broader spectrum of people and conditions people might have, diagnoses they might have, abilities or disabilities they might have, I don't think 4 colors or 16 buckets necessarily sum people up. Some people like horoscopes. Some people feel like their horoscope super identifies them really well, and some people go, I don't feel like any of these things. Monica says, I'll be back in the US very soon. Upside down smiley face. My 6-month stay in France is just about up, hence why I'm looking for full-time work. Hey everybody, Monica's looking for work. What kind of work are you looking for, Monica? Maybe we can get the word out a bit. So yeah, and just speaking of the US, if anybody is going to be in the Seattle area, I'm going to be speaking at the Convey UX conference at the end of February. I'm going to be collecting information from people who want to try try to meet up with me. Sorry, I'm recently over COVID and I still have a bit of a cough. I am testing negative. The personality test with the colors, thank you. Disc. I found it not good. Zilka, what do you think of it? I think it is not good. Okay, it says Monica is a strategic designer of content. So if you need a content strategist or writer, you are looking for Monica. Yeah, the colors one, I only saw that one once, and let's just say I was not happy with it. But again, I feel like I'm a complex and unique person. I feel like I'm different from other people, and I feel like I'm not easily boiled down to a typology. maybe other people do, and that's okay. You can always look at a horoscope and go, wow, that's so me. But I'm usually that person who says, this test says I'm this thing, and I don't think I'm this thing. UX, UI, and content. Okay, everybody hire Monica, please. And hire me to be her manager. Oh, do I have my sound effects? Let me see. Let's see. Not that one. Okay, I just have applause. So there you go. If I tell a funny joke, I'll give myself a round of applause. Is the applause playing? I hope so. Yes, there you go. Thank you, me. Yeah, I only saw disc at one job, and I was immediately worried because I know I don't fit into small boxes very well. I never have. And so, what can I tell you? Yeah. Yeah, and again, it was like, oh, and if someone's a blue, you want to talk to them this way. And my thought was, I'm just a person. Can you please just get to know me? And maybe you don't have to talk to me in a special way. Maybe I'm just a flexible person who will allow you to talk to me however you need to talk. I'll adapt for you. I will say that there is one of these personality systems that I found not as bad, and that was Enneagram. Has anybody looked at Enneagram? My life and business coach had me do Enneagram. I think it's spelled like this, Enneagram. I've done that, and I thought that wasn't so bad as trying to put people into boxes goes. And it's got a lot of variations and shades within it, but I thought Enneagram wasn't that bad, but I've never had a job run an Enneagram on me. That's something I did outside of jobs. But even so, even if someone said, hey, Debbie is an Enneagram type, whatever, that doesn't mean I want you to treat me differently or talk to me differently or collaborate with me differently. To me, those are still unique things we have to work out person by person. I don't want to treat you a certain way, because you're put in some box of some sort. I would rather just get to know you as a person and see what your individual needs are. I'm gonna try let's see, how's this? That's better. Let's see, am I missing any questions? No anonymous questions have come in. And we still have a few more minutes together since I'd like to do these for an hour. I'll be doing them every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Italy time. If you are not in Italy, check your time zones, because when we change clocks, which I think is in a few weeks, it's going to get a little bumpy there. Also, you can join our Discord. Our Discord is going to remind you when stuff is. And on Discord, I think I'm using Discord timestamps, which will adjust for your... I've got Discord timestamps, which will adjust for your location. If you want to join our Life After Tech Discord, it's totally free. You can just go to lat.link/Discord. We've got a long comment here from Zilka who says, all personality tests are good for self-reflection and learning how to communicate with others. It's good for stakeholder management and a fun exercise for team events. People evolve, and so you can do the test on a yearly basis. I prefer tests like Gallup Strengths Finder. They give me a more positive boost. Yeah, it's not that I disagree with you. I just find that what you just said is not true about me. So I think we just have to remember that not everybody feels the same way. I've never felt that these tests were good for self-reflection. I've often taken these tests and felt quite bothered about either how it categorized me or somebody deciding I'm uncategorizable, because then what does that mean? I've never felt that any of these tests helped me learn how to communicate with others. Maybe I just think I'm good at communication. So Zilka, I would just say, while there are probably many people who agree with you, I would just want to leave room for those of us who don't, and just say, there are a lot of these tests that I hate taking. I hate seeing the results. I hate people people thinking they have to talk to me a certain way because I'm blue or yellow or square or circle or INFJ or whatever it is. So just be careful, because ultimately we're putting people into boxes and we're making assumptions about their needs and styles based on some sort of standardized test made by who knows who and when. And are we accounting for disabilities, diagnoses, and conditions? Are we accounting for marginalized groups and their experiences? Are we accounting for what the real rainbow and spectrum of people look like? So let's be careful. I know HR love these, and they have talking points like, hey, these are great for everybody. You're really going to learn how to talk to your stakeholders. I learned how to talk to my stakeholders by reading them. And by asking them what they need. You know, what can I do for you that will help you strategize, prioritize, and make decisions? Monica says, it's a fun one, Enneagram. I liked the VIA character assessment, but it's more useful for oneself and personal reflection. And again, if you get something out of these tests, use them. So I'm not saying, ooh, these are all bad and they're always bad, never use them. I'm just saying we must remember that there are people who gravitate to them and who are categorized well. And then there are people who gravitate away from them and or are categorized poorly. And I tend to be in that bucket. I am categorized poorly and incorrectly, and then I feel like I have to start explaining myself and going, well, I came up as blue but, or I came up as red but. I don't even remember what color I was. I came up as rainbow but. And I wouldn't want that attached to me for my entire time working somewhere. Debbie is blue, so talk to her like this. No, Debbie's just a person. Get to know her and find out how to work best with her, whatever that looks like for your communication and collaboration and things like that. So yeah, unfortunately, there are many times I've learned something about myself, and there are many times that I feel like I've evolved or leveled up, and it was never after a personality test or personal strength thingy. But again, that's just my experience, and other people might have different experiences, and I just want to make sure we're leaving room for all of these real experiences, because they're all valid. Ta-da. Okay, so we've got a few more minutes. And remember, if you want to ask a question at lat.link/Q, it'll come in anonymously. And if it comes in during the week when this show is not happening, I will save it up and you will be among the first questions that I'll answer. If you ever can't make one of these shows, it will be archived on YouTube. Just come on over to Your Life After Tech on YouTube. I had to put the your in there. I couldn't get Life After Tech. Someone else was Life After Tech. So go to Your Life After Tech on YouTube and on Twitch. It'll be archived in YouTube in the live streams channel. Manish, who didn't like my glasses reflection. What about these? No, same thing. Sorry. And we change constantly as per our moods, age, and situations. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I'm the same person I was when I was 4. And in some ways, I'm not the same person I was when I was 4. Some of my core personal qualities have not changed. Some of the ways I see people in the world and situations haven't changed since I'm 4. And I can tell you that for sure. And then there are some things that I definitely understand better or have changed my mind on or gained new knowledge about. And that's part of critical thinking and openness and being open to new information and new directions, which I think we all should be. Thank you, Manish. All right. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Thank you so much, everybody, for opening up this discussion. And the anonymous question was great, and the live chats were great. Again, this will be every Wednesday. Tuesday, I'm going to be doing my Ask Me Anything for CX and UX and product strategy and those areas of work to try to continue helping people with my free mentoring and coaching hour. And then Wednesdays will be my free mentoring and coaching hour for this stuff. Nicole, I don't know what the fix is for the blue light thing, but if anyone has a solution, please share. It's a little painful to look into the light all day. What blue light thing? We're not still talking about my glasses, are we? The blue lights of our phones? Nicole, context, please. Painful to look into, maybe looking at computer screens all day? I think taking a break can help. Some of them have the blue light filters. I don't know if there's any special glasses you can get with blue light filters. When is that on Tuesday? Yes, it is currently at a different time. I might move it later depending upon what happened. I might reschedule stuff for 2025, but at least for 2024, the Tuesday one is at 6:30 p.m. Italy time. So let me just put up on the screen, since I don't have the events calendar yet on the Life After Tech website, which is lat.link without the Q. On the resource, it'll be on the resources page. I'll get that added tomorrow. It's the same link is this will be the same link, cxcc.to/events. That gives you all of my events for my multiverse. So all of my Delta CX and customer centricity stuff, where we focus on working in tech and doing the work and trying to make our jobs and outcomes better and do great things for customers and the business. And then I've got the Life After Tech side, where we're going to talk about layoffs and career coaching and direction and what other work we can do, and a lot of the emotions around it, interviewing and being ghosted and all that stuff. So I've got 2 universes right now, and I'm running them concurrently, and I hope people will become involved in one or both. They have separate YouTube channels. YouTube for the other one is CX-CC. And then they have separate Discord communities. The Discord community is CXCC, and then this one is Life After Tech. So again, if you go to lat.link and then click on resources, you'll find all the links to Life After Tech stuff. If you want to find the not Life After Tech stuff, you just go to dcx.to. That's got all the links. dcx.to has all the links for all of the not Life After Tech stuff. That's the downside to running 2 universes at the same time, but I'm trying to help people in multiple disconnected areas where it didn't make sense to have these be the same YouTube channel or the same Discord community, just because there's different stuff going on for people. There are different places in their life and career, and I think separating them makes more sense. Oh, I'm getting sleepy. Monica, Zilka, what about you? You're in my time zone. Getting sleepy, y'all. Yes, I have one to do and then I can go to bed. So the Life After Tech book is for sale and available. We've got every format you can think of, from PDFs and EPUBs to Audible narrated by me, to an audiobook not on Audible narrated by me, to Amazon, to not Amazon. So again, you'll find everything at lat.link. That's my URL shortener. I love URL shorteners. And then from there, you'll see a link called book. And that will dump you on a different website of mine where you'll see all the links to where all the books are. URL shorteners, they're great for future proofing. All right, so I've got 2 small kids. I'm always sleepy. Yeah, I've got 5 wacky dogs. You met one of them at the top of the show. That was Diana the dog. So yes, I'm going to flame us out of here and let our theme song run for the end of the show. Runs for about 26 seconds and then the stream stops. The theme song is Quit Forever by Towhider, who's one of my favorite bands. Towhider also does our theme song on our other channel, except that one I had him custom write for us. This one was a song he had put out anyway, and you can find it on the YouTube and all of the streaming stuff. So I hope to see everybody next week. As of now, my next live stream is Monday, but I will be putting out a fresh video on the Your Life After Tech channel tomorrow, because our first podcast is going live. It's a pre-recorded podcast. I'm interviewing people who are leaving tech or left tech or shifting from the corporate world to things that are more entrepreneurial, and I'm going to try to get these out hopefully once a week. I've got 4 interviews booked so far, and if you know anybody who fits that description, let me know so I can invite them to the show. So please subscribe and look for that tomorrow. All right, I'm going to flame us out of here and theme song us out of here. And thanks to everybody who joined, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.
It's whatever. Is it better?